So, our presentation is on Jane Eyre, chapters 9 to 14. So, in chapter 9, Lowood becomes a better place for Jane. The environment is very nice, but then typhus begins to spread everywhere. So, Jane becomes friends with this girl named Mary Ann Wilson, but Jane's good friend Helen Burns gets very sick with a different disease and then dies in Jane's arms at the end of the chapter. So 8 years later, we're now in chapter 10, and Jane becomes tired of Lowood. She's been there for such a long time, so she applies for a new job, gets the job at Thornfield as governess, and before she leaves, Bessie comes back to her, and Jane realizes that the Reed children are not doing so good in life. In chapter 11, Jane arrives at Thornfield. She meets Mrs. Fairfax, who runs the house, and also Mr. Rochester. She learns about who is the owner of Thornfield. She also meets Adele, her student, whose mother was taken to the Holy Virgin. In chapter 12, Jane's been at Thornfield for a while, and one day she sees a man slip on his horse on the ice, and then she goes to help him, but then he mysteriously just vanishes. In chapter 13, Mr. Rochester comes and he lives in Thornfield. Everything changes around the house. Both Jane and Mr. Rochester start to form a relationship and get to know each other. In chapter 14, Jane and Rochester start to discover feelings because they get to know each other more on a deeper level, and Rochester's demeanor starts to change more towards Jane. So that was it for the recap of chapters 9 to 14. That was just a brief explanation before we start the lesson with the PowerPoint. Thank you for watching.